Happy holidays everyone, it's PB Ekotaku. It's my first Christmas since I became a content creator, so I thought I'd do a video on something holiday related. For this video, I'll be reviewing a Christmas themed figure. Amakuni's Christmas Mood Suzuya from Kantai collection. I bought this figure shortly after its release a few years ago, so I didn't get much of a deal on it. In fact, I probably paid close to retail. However, with the current state of the yen, you could buy this figure for much cheaper than its retail price. Stick around until the end and I'll show you where you could get this figure for the best price. Let's open this figure up now.
The front of the box has a snowflake design that forms a Christmas tree, and while there's no window to see the product, the back of the box has some nice shots of Suzuya. Let's open this up. The box is kind of flimsy, so exercise caution if you're trying to save it. There are two parts to this figure, Suzuya herself and the base. Speaking of the base, it has a metal rod to attach the figure to. I'm really glad this is becoming more common. Plastic pegs were so fragile and it really sucked when they broke. Suzuya's assembly process is simple. Step 1, attach her to the base. Step 2, there is no step 2. You're done. Great. Let's take a closer look. As expected from a well-established company like Amakuni, the paint job is well done. The paint is blended well and it does not look flat. If you look closely at her hair, you can see different shades of that mint color. Things look great so far. Here's a good look at Suzuya's cute Santa dress. I'm actually impressed with the shading of the paint. I've seen some figures with flat paint jobs, and sometimes that lack of detail dampens the enjoyment of a figure for me. The varying shades of red really make Suzuya look impressive. Also, the creases in her detached sleeves are a nice touch. I'm sure I've seen some figures that omit small details like that. One of the defining features of the Kancolle characters are their warship attachments, like their cannons. Suzuya has her leg cannons, and if she didn't have them, she might not be recognizable as a Kancolle character. Her over-the-knee boots also provide nice balance with the cannons. Speaking of Suzuya's boots, they have a somewhat glossy paint job which appears to depict leather. Amakuni didn't skip out on the details here neither. The paint job on the boots is just as good as the Santa dress, and like the detached sleeves, the realistic creases are a nice touch. The small things can really go a long way. Let's look at the base. It has the names of the character and figure type. There's a nice gold Christmas design, the base doesn't take up a lot of surface area, and it does its job by keeping Suzuya balanced. Let's look at a few more areas. Suzuya has this cute Christmas tree hair clip, but despite it being so small, the paint job on it is very clean. Hats off to the painter. Also, Suzuya's faceplate is kinda narrow, so her head looks a little weird here. Here's a better angle of Suzuya's charming expression. The eye decals look great and her mouth is sculpted well. Figure makers are really leveling up with open mouths. I don't remember them being this good back then. Now for a close-up of the top of Suzuya's Santa dress. She's still wearing the same black and gold brooch from her default outfit, and her orange ribbon was replaced with a green one. Like the rest of the figure, the paint job is great, and I just noticed those two puffballs on her sleeve as well. Cute detail. From the side, you can see Suzuya's hair is actually floating and not touching her shoulder. While it looks weird, the practical reason for this is that if her hair is touching the rest of the figure, paint transfer will inevitably happen. The fur trim on the dress is great too. It has a distinct texture to resemble fur, and it has a nice off-white color with different shades. The leg cannons have a gunmetal finish with a well done gradient. On other figures, the barrels of the cannon move, but I haven't tested on this one. They look fragile, so I'm not going to try. Onto one of my favorite aspects of this figure, the apparent lack of seam lines. On Suzuya's dress, the seam line is right next to her hand, but it's cleverly hidden by looking like one of the many pleats on her skirt. The same could be said for Suzuya's boots. The seam lines here look like the stitching or design of an actual boot. When a figure's clothes match actual clothing seam lines, I consider that seam line to be hidden or non-existent. I want to revisit this shot to go over another seam line. Just like with the boots, the seam line on Suzuya's detached sleeves look like actual stitching on real clothes, so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, and believe me, figure seam lines can stick out badly. The one visible seam line is between the back and front hair pieces. This is a common one I see with characters who have bangs, and the way it's hidden is if the character has headgear or large enough bangs to blend the seam line in with the hair. This type of seam line will almost always be seen on Nendoroids due to the interchangeable nature of the figures. From head to toe, Suzuya looks absolutely wonderful. This is a great figure. Now let's do the obligatory full body shot to appreciate this wonderful rendition of Suzuya. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. I said I would tell you the shops to find this figure for the best price, and here are two. First place is Ami. They sell open, but like new versions of this figure for 8,980 yen before shipping. If you don't care for slight damage, you might be able to snag one for 5,980 yen before shipping. These prices translate to about $63 and $42 respectively. However, at Mandarake, they sell her new for 8,000 yen with small packet shipping at 2,860 yen. That converts to $76. Even with shipping charges, that is less than half of what I paid for her.
And that does it for the review. If you fancy this figure, please check out the online shops that I recommended. You're sure to get a great deal. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. My Patreon is linked in the description if you would like to provide further support. As always, contributing is never required, but any support you give me is greatly appreciated. Once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and remember, spend less, save more. Oh, and one more thing. Happy holidays, everyone.